presenting him to himself as one gainfully employed. That's what I'm talking about when I tell you the all states. He took him out of one state and put him in another state. The man who is in the new state is the same man. You are an immortal being. You are changing only when you fall into a state. And others who knew you well in one state think, what has happened to him? You either go up or you go down. If they see a radical change, and they wonder, what has happened to him? He is affluent, he is this, he is that, or what has happened to him? He used to be, and look at him now. And not a thing changed with the immortal being who occupied the state, other than the state. He changed the state. Man, not knowing that, he condemns the state. When it's not the being that you're looking at a state. So God forgives everyone. He justifies everyone because he knows they're only in states. And the Lord created all these states. These are the states. So that's what Blake meant when he said, I do not consider the just or the wicked to be in a supreme state, but to be every one of them states of the sleep, which the soul may fall into in its deadly dreams of good and evil, when it left paradise, following the serpent. Following the serpent. When man left that heavenly state of innocence and came into a world of experience, of educative darkness, and experienced generation. For here we are generating and multiplying these garments to clothe the innocent one who has come down. So the whole drama is from innocence through experience to an awakened imagination. When the imagination completely awakes, that's the divine body, Jesus. That's God. And it takes all of this journey. We are the pilgrims moving through states. So I tell you, master the art of moving from one state to another state. You are not the state. You never have been and you never will be. The state, if you are going to condemn the state, but why condemn anything? Moving out of a state into another state. Move yourself out of one state into another state. So others say it can't be done. Leave them alone. They say it can't be done. You go about your Father's business, moving from state to state as you desire it. Now it all starts with a hunger. It starts with a real desire on your part. And all these infinite states are simply to satisfy the hungers of men. So you want to be good, as you understand good to be. You want to be wealthy, as you understand it. You want to be famous, as you understand it. All these are states. Go into the state before you are qualified. Go into the state and stay there. The state has all the things necessary to externalize itself. But you are the occupant power. You have to go into the state and dwell there. Now, as I go into it, let me remain in it. If I come back like the positron, I'm simply going to be turned right around. I'm not going to be deflected and continue my journey in the same direction, only deflected. I'm going to be so shocked. And everyone is shocked. When I go into a state and it seems like this, it seems so real. When I open my eyes, oh, here I am, back there. But that shock turns me around from that return to my motion forward now as an electron. I'm not a positron anymore. I was a positron when I actually started back in time. And when I reached this body, and the body is jolted when I open my eyes. Then, what I did there, I am moving across a bridge of incident now, some series of events that leads me up to the fulfillment in what the world calls reality. But it was real when I occupied it in my imagination. That's when it was real. We exist in these bodies. We live in our imaginations. For our imaginations, these are the only realities. Imagination is God. That is the divine body, Jesus. I used to sit and simply try it in my living room. I couldn't see the chair where I sat in the living room from the telephone in the hallway. I would sit at the telephone in my imagination while my body was in the living room. And then I would assume I'm at the telephone. Physically, I couldn't see that body. And then suddenly I would feel myself back on the chair. And what a shock. And then from the chair, I would put myself back at the telephone. I would stand on the outside of the house and see it like this building. See it from the street rather than from here. And assume while I'm standing here that I am looking at the building from the outside. And suddenly you are on the outside. And you're looking at it from the outside. Do it with your own home. Do it with anything in your room. And that gets you sort of in a state of moving. You become mobile, as it were. And it's easy then to occupy any state. And they're only states. So when someone thinks themselves so important, it's only a state, but all right, that state in itself is important to them. And anyone occupying that state must do exactly what they would do. If I were in the state of Hitler, I would do the same thing Hitler did. Because it's a state. And if I fall into it, knowingly or unknowingly, I've got to play that part. So he does not consider the just or the wicked to be in a supreme state, but to be every one of them states of the sleep which the soul falls into when it leaves paradise following the serpent. That serpent of generation. So here, you can be what you want to be if you know that all these are only states. And in the end, you are justified. You are completely exonerated. You are acquitted, divinely acquitted. So let no one frighten you as to what you must do to earn the kingdom. You do not earn the kingdom. It's your Father's good pleasure to give it to you. And it's a gift that is not your due. It's not a reward for any good things you did. If you're in a state and you think that the good things you're doing is only the state, you moved into it, and I personally find it easier living in my world to be in good states. I find it easier to be kind than to be unkind. If I'm ever unkind, it hurts me more than anyone who received my dart, as it were. An unkind remark hurts me more than the one who received it from me. So I find it easier to be in that sort of a state. But eventually you will completely awake with a gift, and the gift is God himself. There's nothing but God in this world. But nothing but God. Someone called me up and asked me about devils. That she went down to this Christian Science practitioner who now feels she is now hungry with devils. Well, they teach devils how the devil does this, the devil does that, are just getting away from the first and great commandment, which is the great commandment, the Shema, the confession of faith in the Hebraic world. Hear, O God, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. The minute you get away from that, you have a devil. There's another God, another creator, another something. And you have two, you're going to have four, you're going to have 8, 16, 32, and so on. Always come back to that fundamental state. There is only God. And God is your own wonderful human imagination. When you say, I am, that's God. There is no other, and never will be another God. He is going to unfold himself within you and completely awaken. And when he awakens, you are God. And then you'll be clothed in that heavenly garment. And I'm telling you, it's a heavenly garment. I can't describe it other than to tell you, when you're in it, you're not standing on the earth. You're lifted off, as it were. And I can only describe it as air and fire. And when you glide by, and the sea of humanity, imperfect, you do not raise one little finger to change them. No compassion, because they cannot remain that way when you go by. And as you glide by, every one is made perfect. Every one, not one is left out.